would say that the stories that I like to extract from designers, what is their design point of view? Or in other words, how do they approach design? Obviously, there are a lot of designers out there, and each one approaches their process a different way. They may have a different specialization. At the end of the day, when a client comes to them, the client needs to know why they should choose them or why that designer would be a good fit for them.
As creatives, we each have a unique perspective, and we use different mediums, whether that's paint, furniture, decor, fabrics, or digital media to express ourselves. On today's episode, we are going to discover the art of you. Morning wake-up call. 15 minutes to kick off your week with design motivation. Real-life stories from designers making an impact. Brought to you by Mydoma Studio. Simplify and grow your business. Stay organized, enhance your value, increase your profitability with software built for designers by designers. And the Design Kollective, an online collective of furniture and home decor boutiques. We believe that our local brick-and-mortar furniture and home decor stores are the tastemakers in our communities. Shop with us and support stores in your local communities and beyond. Produced by the Live Broadcast Network. Podcast-style shows you can listen to or watch. Streamed live and rewatchable on your favorite social media platforms. Live life with authenticity. Now, let's get your day started with another inspiring story from within the design community with Morning Wake Up Call.
Articulating that or telling that story in a really succinct way, whether it's just through a tagline, whether it's through what we could call a sales script on an about page, that is really the baseline of what needs to happen in any brand, really. And then also what I really enjoy in terms of helping designers tell their story is finding ways to create a connection between the designer and their website visitor, their audience. And oftentimes this is done really well through creating little short videos.
Hey there, listeners. Let me introduce you to my friend, Yian Quach.
My name is Yian Quach, and I am the founder of The Art of You. I help designers attract their ideal clients by branding their business from the inside out.
Now, if the name sounds familiar, you may have seen him in front of a camera.
Here we are in Kelly Ellis's penthouse suite at her party for her mastermind group. Give us a little introduction. What is this party?
Yes.
You know, what are they looking at right now?
Kind of put things together because it's market and all my friends are already here. We might as well just have the party.
And when he's not in front of the camera, he's behind it, always looking to discover the story.
And types of videos that we've done include like a brand video where it's like a 1 to 2 minute video where they're talking about their business, but also this can be little videos where they're actually walking someone through a project. And what has been such a game changer in creating these videos that I found is that these videos don't need to have the person on video. This is one of the biggest barriers for a lot of people of creating videos. They don't want to get on camera. But with technology now and different techniques, it's possible to just get an audio track, just like kind of what you're hearing right now. The episode you're seeing and listening to right now, you're not seeing my face, right? And so I've worked with designers to create videos like this and incorporated them into their website, which has allowed the website visitor to listen to that person's voice. And there's so much that's conveyed through the voice.
In 2006, only 22% of consumers even knew what a podcast was. As of the end of 2019, 90 million Americans listened to a podcast in the last 30 days. By 2022, podcast listening should reach 132 million listeners in the United States alone.
What I love about the storytelling process is seeing my clients come alive when they find a way to actually tell their story. And it can be a very illuminating experience for them, a very enlightening experience for them, because a lot of people do struggle to tell their story, to find a way to tell their story. A lot of them think that they don't have a compelling story. But obviously everyone does have an authentic, genuine story that makes sense and that really does kind of deepen someone's understanding of their brand.
So, have you changed your branding? As people, we're always changing, and our companies are changing too. It's a common myth that changing your branding will hurt your company. Yet even the iconic American auto company Ford Motors changed its logo 4 times between 1903 and 1912. In fact, they changed their logo twice in 1912 alone.
The new Mustang showed for the first time today on top of the Empire State. It would become the car of the decade.
As a testament to change, Henry Ford is quoted as saying, "The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing."
When I'm able to speak with them by phone and ask particular questions that can unlock their story, unlock the words that come out of their mouth that tell their story, sometimes they will, kind of sit back after we've, gone through a segment, after we've talked through a topic, they'll kind of sit back and say, "Oh my God, I actually never put it quite in those words before, but somehow sitting here with you right now and talking with you, and because of the questions you're asking, it's actually coming through quite naturally."
Let's hit the pause button for a moment. Have you asked someone else to describe you? Or better yet, what if you could hear a conversation of someone else describing you to a third person? How would they describe you? Ian has an interesting perspective on that.
So I would say that's probably the most enjoyable aspect of that, and one of the most kind of, I think, powerful gifts that someone could give someone else is asking the right questions.
So, time for a riddle. What needs to be captured in less than 1.7 seconds and will most likely lose interest in 10 to 15 seconds? Figured it out? If you said website visitors, you'd be right. So Ian, how do we fix that?
Perhaps one of the most important things that I found about keeping visitors interested is bringing them through an escalating level of information. And so what I mean is, when someone first arrives on a website, the information that their eyes are taking in should be relatively simple and brief, whether it's the words that are being said. Sometimes a homepage may have very few or no images or words at all, because we're just easing them into the experience. As they move through the site to the portfolio page or the about page, we're ramping up the information a bit. And finally, as they get to the services page, now we're really getting into the nitty-gritty. I subscribe to a design perspective, in terms of website design, that there really shouldn't be all that much information early in the experience. That the user should be in the driver's seat of deciding how deep down the rabbit hole they want to go. Because giving too much information too fast is a good way of someone clicking off of a site.
Design is visual. So how does color affect storytelling through web design and branding?
One way to think about color and how that affects their story is whether there are particular colors that are prominent or important to them as designers. So for example, let's say this particular designer happens to work in a lot of neutrals. right? I have a client who actually does work in almost all neutral. And so the colors of the buttons and the backgrounds and stuff, they were chosen to really support the images that are being shown, to really allow those images to showcase without any distraction. But we didn't use any like bright pops of color or anything like that, which is very common on websites to do. Obviously, a lot of designers don't have any particular color that is essential to them, because they follow the color preferences of their clients, right? Interior design is generally a client-driven, discovery-driven business, right, or a practice. And so at that point, it becomes a matter of creating a color palette for the website that at least can support the images that are being used, either to not lead the eyes down a confusing path. The color shows in and the color should be used on the site in a way that supports good user experience. Does that answer your question about the use of color?
So Yian, how did you come up with the name, The Art of You?
A couple years ago, I read a book called Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller. And one of the main tenets of that book is that your client is the hero, or that they should be the hero in your branding story. That if you can tell your story in a way that really puts your client as a focus and as the main character of your brand story, then it can be very compelling. And this is a very interesting idea. And I thought about this, and I thought, well, what would it mean for my business name to put my clients as the hero? And obviously, if we think about the name, The Art of You, I think it does that, because it really, what it means to me is what we're creating together is something that is a demonstration of your art, right? If we look at someone's website, what are we looking at? We're looking at their art. Whose art is that? It's the art of them, right? And so, what I'm creating, like I said, it is that demonstration. It has a double meaning as well, because it is also my art, right? What we are doing in terms of creating a website for you, creating your brand, this is my art, and it is the art of you.
So, let's say that you were out this week, grabbing lunch or popping by a home goods store. Or if someone were to drop by your website or social media, would they be able to clearly understand the art of you?
Yeah, so my name is Yian Quach, and I'm the founder of The Art of You.
For more information about Yian Quach and The Art of You, please visit them at www.theartofyou.co and follow them on social media at theartofyou.co. Thanks for catching another great episode of Morning Wake Up Call. Just 15 minutes to kick off your week with design motivation. Brought to you by the Live Broadcast Network. Podcasts you can watch. Live life with authenticity. If you would like to be a guest on Morning Wake Up Call, visit us at www.thelivebroadcastnetwork.com/wakeupcallguest. Well, that's it for us, folks. Remember to hit share, hit like, or even host a watch party. And remember to tune in next time for another great episode of Morning Wake Up Call.